serving up a warm dish of the Triads culinary fare, here's your weekly helping of food, news, and views. This is the man who ate the town.
Hey folks, and welcome to episode 132 of the Man Who Ate the Town podcast. This is for the week of November 4th through the 10th, 2019. My name is Tim Beeman.
My name's Ray Morgan.
And we're opening the recipe box.
Didn't get me that time. I'm ready now.
We are recording this episode of the Man Who Ate the Town in the Less Desirable Studios in the lab at Industry Hill. The whole these are my opinions based on my experiences and all that stuff. It's not bad. I just wanted to say that.
Disclaimer.
Yeah.
Now, what are you going to tell us?
Okay, so Street Team member Stephen McDowell, who is my new research assistant, I guess, sponsored a trip to the new Breakfast Time Anytime location on Haynes Mall Boulevard, where Billy Bob's Silver Diner used to be.
They did such a good job redoing that whole building.
Oh, yeah. Have you been inside?
I have not been in yet.
Oh, yeah. The inside looks even as good as the outside.
Wow.
And we didn't do a trip for the obvious, like breakfast and stuff. We heard that they had a smash burger, and we wanted to see where it would have stood if it did in the ranks of the Summer of Burgers top 10. We ordered 2 different burgers and sides to go along with it. First, we ordered the bacon cheeseburger with lettuce, tomato, mayo, and, bacon, of course. Stephen told the server to make sure that they put a tad more char on the burgers. It's 2 4-ounce patties on what we figure is probably a brioche bun. The burger was perfectly cooked. The flavors and seasoning were great. And because smash burgers are generally thin, they're not juicy all over the place, but juicy in a good way. Mm-hmm. I ordered onions to put on the side, but they were chopped, and I don't like chopped onions if I'm putting them on. I like rings or slivers of onions. Mm-hmm. So I opted not to put them on there, and I don't think it needed it. I usually leave the lettuce off, but because of what it is, I decided to not leave it off, and Steven likes it, so there. The other burger was the mushroom onion burger. Also 2 4-ounce patties with provolone cheese, grilled onions, mushrooms, lettuce, tomato, and mayonnaise.
Were they chopped onions or slivers?
They were grilled onions. They were, I guess it could have been either one, because by that time they were all caramelized and put into a mound on this burger. Also, a very fine burger, but it wasn't as good to me as the bacon cheeseburger. I think the flavors got in the way of itself on the mushroom burger. That was my opinion. We had fries, which were long and nicely seasoned. They were, I like them slightly less crispy but not floppy and wet. I like them. Yeah. I like them done. I'm not one of those who wants it when you bite it to crunchy like that. I don't like that. These were done just right. But the star of the day, outside of the bacon cheeseburger, was the mac and cheese casserole. It was so creamy. The texture was just right. The temperature was just right. The flavor was just right. You actually tasted cheese and not an amalgamation of other flavors. These were really cheesy macaroni. So, if they had been open and I was requested to go there and try their burger, it probably would have taken the number 9 spot occupied by Max Burger. Funny thing about that is the owners of the 2 restaurants are brothers. Gus,
oh, my goodness.
So Gus would have won out, but I'm also not going to do updates on that list because that's not where I want to take it. Right. It was meant to stand by itself, and things will come and go that should or shouldn't be on there. It's just like etched in stone or something. So it's there, and it's the way it is. That's the way I liked it, and that's where it stays.
But it gives us a benchmark to judge whether we want to have a burger at breakfast time.
Right. Because, you hear breakfast time, you think, breakfast. But
eggs, bacon, sausage, pancakes, waffles, omelets, that kind of thing. Yeah,
and they have all those. So, which brings me to Saturday. Stephanie and I did go for the breakfast.
Okay.
It was crazy busy. There was about a 45-minute estimated wait, but we only waited about 20 minutes, I think. It was packed, and we sat at the bar, which I always liked sitting at the bar, even when no alcohol is involved. And we observed the staff being trained for takeout and watching the expediters do their thing. But this is about the food, not about the aesthetics. Stephanie had the 2 eggs with sausage links with biscuits and gravy. It's sausage gravy. I had 2 biscuits and gravy, as well as a sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit and sausage, egg, and cheese croissant. Now, I know it sounds like a lot, but I meant for it to just be a tasting for quote-unquote research purposes.
Mm-hmm.
But man, it was really good. The croissant is flaky and a little bit chewy, but I don't mind that. When everything comes together, it should pull apart. It's not just falling out all over the place like some croissants do, which is one reason I don't usually get them, because I don't like wearing half of it.
Yeah.
The biscuit was fluffy and not at all crispy. I don't like crispy biscuits. I don't like it when you have to bite into them. I like it when you sink into them. They were really closer to a breakfast roll, but I like that too. The biscuit and gravy was how I like it. The place we have breakfast the most is a little bit too runny, which is why I don't get it from there. I won't mention their name. Another place in town is thick, and I like that, but this was just right. The sausage gravy was creamy but not watery, and the flavors were distinct. You knew you were eating sausage gravy. Usually it's just like milk gravy with some sausage chunks in it, and that wasn't what happened here. This was really good, and it needed a little more pepper, but you know what? Pepper's easy to apply, and I did it myself. So yeah, Gus and his folks, they did it right, and I enjoyed both visits. In fact, I enjoyed it so much after I got my flu shot this morning, I went and had biscuits and gravy and a bacon, egg, and cheese croissant from there. So, yeah.
So 3 tries now, and it's
not let me down yet.
3 base hits?
3 base hits. Yeah, that's a triple eventually.
You loaded the bases. Now one more, and you'll start scoring.
That's right. That's right. Have some RBIs going on here. Viva Chicken opened at Burke Mill in Stratford, and from what I understand, it was and has been ridiculously packed. Also, from what I hear, the food is delicious and unlike anything else in this town. I will either get by there this week, or Stephen and I will go next week when he's back from Tel Aviv. He travels there about once a month for work. So while we were at breakfast time anytime, we discussed, so what's our next thing? And when he gets back, then we'll probably go to Viva Chicken, since that seems to be the new fad around here.
Well, I understand it's a Peruvian rotisserie chicken.
Yes. So it's not all that fried stuff. This is with Peruvian spices and all that stuff. And I've seen mixed reviews, but the most of the reviews have been quite positive and delicious, and we've been waiting for this for a long time, and other things like that. So all I know is it's really popular right now, and I do plan on in the next couple of weeks having some.
Look forward to the review.
I look forward to bringing it to you. Real quick, don't forget the mission to serve at Carrabba's on November the 7th. Make your reservations by visiting carrabbas.com. Chicken masala, penne pomodoro, and Caesar salad with a donation of $10 or more. Plus, Daniel's going to give you a dining card for $10 at Carrabba's, so do the math. Support shop.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, support Shop of the Cop, Peacekeepers, and Special Olympics Forsyth County. Speaking of Stephen, he actually donated through me. I have to give it to Daniel, which I saw Daniel Friday, but I didn't have cash with me because Stephanie and I went to Carrabba's for dinner on Friday, and because Daniel told me he had some Nine Inch Nails records that he wanted me to listen to, so I got mine there.
I saw the review on that.
Yeah, well, I started the review. There's 3 now that I've listened to. Some of it I really like. Some of it I'm still getting used to.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's very hard.
Well, if you're not used to it, it certainly is different. But
yeah,
I have enjoyed the experience anyway. So, and I have liked most of what I've heard. I drove by on the way to see Daniel on Friday. I drove by Organics Juice Bar, and it looked like Becky had put a Let It Grow Produce sign up in the window, and Michael Hastings mentioned it was ready, already open. I just got to get by and check her out, because I think that's exciting. I want to see if I can get her to come on here to talk about it.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Chef David Swing, formerly of Sir Winston, will be doing his thing now at the Young Cardinal Cafe, or whatever Adam Andrews decides to actually name his new late night dinner breakfast joint on the corner of Spruce and 4th in the old Hutch and Harris dining room. So Chef David wasn't out of the mix for very long. From what I understand, Jordan, who was filling in for him after he left, is also no longer with Sir Winston. He is now going to be with Second Harvest Food Bank.
Oh, cool.
And there may be a surprise mystery guest transition chef come in at Sir Winston, and I don't know if I have clearance to say who that is yet.
Okay.
If you put 3 and 4 together, you can come up with 7 on your own. So
there you go.
At least that's what I get whenever I add those two. So
that's interesting that, I mean, Sir Winston hasn't even been open that long.
Yeah, there was
already folks moving around.
Yeah, I don't get in that kind of business. When we get into somebody's business, I try not to stay out of that. I know Simon is really proud of his place, and I know if what I think is going to happen happens, at least for the interim, it's going to be a good thing for them. But it's really only to get someone else in there to take over.
Okay.
So we'll see how that actually works out.
Well, and I can see if you got a new restaurant opening downtown that, you know, somebody that's connected with a lot of the chefs in the area is going to have those conversations.
Yep. And you gotta, I'm not saying any of the choices made in the past were wrong or right, but if you're going to move forward, if there was a problem that you're trying to fix, get one of the good ones to at least train the new folk, to get someone ready to be in there. Well, that's all the news I have for today. So let's move into the food, holidays, and history for today.
Cool.
Today is the 4th of November.
It
is my friend Britta's 49th birthday.
It was very astute of you to notice that today was the 4th. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I looked it up.
I had to look on my computer screen and see, what day is it? It's the 4th. Okay, I'm good.
Well, I only knew this because, I was reading on mine, too.
Yeah,
because
you had it all written down.
I had to look today to find out what the stuff was, so...
Yeah, after I fell forward, then I had to, revamp and fall backwards, and, now I'm just getting into the right time again.
Yeah, I just had to get up. I had fallen forward, sprung back, and backwards, and all the other stuff. I don't know what I'm saying now at this point, but there was a lot of records involved, and I just didn't want to get up. So let's go with that.
We'll go with that.
Today is the 4th, and it is National Candy Day. And I say yes, just yes.
Yes. Candy's a good thing.
Candy is a great thing.
Especially chocolate. Did you know that chocolate outsells all other candy 2 to 1?
I did know that, actually.
Yeah, it's impressive. Chocolate's amazing.
Yes, it is. In 1841, on the 4th, John Bartleson and John Bidwell arrived in California with the first wagon train. They left from Independence, Missouri on May 1st with 69 adults and several children. So they were the first ones to get out there. And again, like I said not long ago, it was 8 years later when the gold rush happened in California. So, yeah.
They found gold quick.
Yeah. There's gold in them there hills. On the 4th in 1873, Anthony Iska of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, was issued a patent for a meat slicing machine. It worked much like a mandolin with a frame to hold the meat while sliding it against the blade. I think it was the predecessor of the ones we see now in the delis. That they what size would you like? It's for sandwiches. Oh, it's for sandwiches. Here, you want to try a sample? Yes, of course.
I always want the sample.
Yes, I do too. And
shaved
a lot of times,
very thin.
I will actually save, because we usually get meat and a cheese as well. So I will save the sample from both and slap them together and eat them together. Roll them up.
Yeah. Then you know whether they actually work together.
Yeah. And then, like Paris, I know for sure, what we call a sandwich is not exactly what they call a sandwich. What we would call like a meat roll-up is what they call a sandwich. So whenever I get my samples, I take them and I just roll them up and I have a little French sample.
Okay, well, very nice.
Villageois.
They don't put bread on either side of it. It's just meat and cheese rolled up. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
Very interesting. That's not very French with my accent, but it's all right.
No, it's okay. Mine neither. I take a sandwich here and I have a little bite and I roll it up and yes, the fromage and the jambon. It's very good. Très magnifique. That better?
Ah, see, now that sounded French.
Okay, good. So
Because you've been there.
yes, twice. In 1879, on this day, it was a big day for inventions because James and John Ritty invented the cash register. They
Wow,
came
that's
up-
a big deal.
They came up with the idea to prevent bartenders from stealing at the Pony House restaurant in Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah, like that stopped it.
Yeah, that's don't ring it up, dummy.
Ding! Just taking it back out of the till.
Yeah. Okay. Also in 1879, an inventor named Thomas Elkins received a patent for a refrigerating machine which could be used to cool food or even human corpses, according to the patent application. He also received patents for combined dining, ironing table, and a commode.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay, all at the same time.
all at the same time.
I find it somewhat disturbing that he's thinking, you could use this for food or for corpses.
Well,
That those two things would be simultaneous in his mind kind of bothers me.
1879, I'm pretty sure, people were dying just like they do today, and it was probably
Yeah.
stacking up and starting to smell.
Oh, I'm sure. You'd have
And
to
there's
do the
only so
embalming
much
pretty
lye
quick.
you can put
Yeah.
on something. So, also in 1879, Thomas Edison applied for a patent for electric lamps giving light by incandescence. It was approved 3 months later. So this day in 1879, that's 130 years? 140 years.
Sounds right.
Yeah. 140 years. That was a lot of stuff going on.
A lot.
Also on the 4th.
They brought better things to light. But I'm
Bring
pumped.
it down, yeah.
Okay, that really wasn't that funny, but okay.
That's some General Electric stuff going on right there.
Yeah,
In
a lot of
1922, the entrance to the tomb of King Tutankhamun, or King Tut.
buried in his jammies.
Yeah, Funky Tut. Yeah, that was discovered in the Valley of the Kings in Egypt. In 1959, Alberta, Canada, bans trading stamps and similar sales promotion items. For those younger listeners, trading stamps, most likely green stamps from S&H, would be the ones that Ray and I know, were
Oh, yeah.
the precursor of loyalty cards like VIP cards or VIC cards or any of those MVP cards at the grocery store. People would collect them from purchases made in grocery stores or department stores, and when you had enough, you purchased things from a catalog.
Yep.
So-
Oh, I used to love that. My grandmother would go grocery shopping.
Yeah.
I'd be like, give me the stamps, give me the stamps. And I'd go find her little booklet and I'd, lick stamps and put them in there. And it's like, oh, you got a whole book. You got a whole book. Book.
Yes, we can get a lamp!
Yay.
Because Edison just applied for a patent 100 and some years ago.
We had to wait another 3 months before it's been approved. And then we can get a lamp
That's true.
with a stamp.
A stamp lamp. That's what this is. It's a stamp lamp. Fragile. That's what it says right there. Fragile.
Yeah, it's imported from Geely.
From Italy. Must be Italian. In 1993, on the 4th, Elton John was awarded $518,700 from the Sunday Mirror for false allegations that he was hooked on a bizarre diet in which he spat out food without swallowing it.
Okay.
He's such a diva, and I love him so.
Yeah.
So, 11/5, also known as Guy Fawkes Day, because 5th November we always remember, or whatever it was, V for Vendetta, but it really is Guy Fawkes Day. But it's also National Donut Day.
Yes.
Yes.
To quote Homer Simpson, is there nothing this food can't do?
Well, my favorite thing about that was, he would go, strawberry, whenever he sees it. He sees another one, cream. And then he goes, purple. because he didn't know what flavor donut it was. It was just purple.
Purple. That works. Gosh, love donuts. It's a weakness. If they're there, I gotta have one.
Yeah.
Or I'm standing there drooling, and people are like,
"Here, just take one."
Come on, man. I actually saw somebody that posted a couple weeks ago that, and I'm thinking this person must be from a completely different planet. They cannot be human, because they said that a Krispy Kreme donut, fresh while it's still hot, does not taste good to them.
Now, I'm sure the American Psychological Association would like to have a little conversation with them. I cannot look at you when you're sitting there like that. Those horns, man. I need to take a picture and show it. I have a picture, but I need to show the picture to the listeners. Speaking of which, oddly enough, in 1963, Viking ruins were found by archaeologists in Newfoundland, dated to about the year 1000. Leif Erikson had landed at Vinland 500 years before Columbus, quote unquote, discovered the New World.
So the Vikings really did find us first.
Yeah. Even before Amerigo Vespucci, which is
so
cool name.
Columbus is just a big ripoff.
Yeah, Columbus is.
He's a marketing ploy. Perpetrated by Spain so that they could claim the New World.
That's right. And then they had very little to do with it for the most part.
And, I mean, really, was America the New World, or wasn't part of the same world that they'd always been on?
Yeah. I think they had it right with the Canadian thing. It was Newfoundland, which is newfound land. We just found it. We found it, but obviously people were already living here.
And, they got killed because they lived here first.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to talk about the next holiday.
I missed one. In 1889, Wyoming voters approved the first constitution in the world, granting full voting rights to women.
Wow. You think that it took that long?
Well,
really?
And then it still wasn't until the 20s that we did it for the rest of the country, right? With the song
actually,
Suffering for Suffrage.
Today, I believe, is the 100th anniversary of women's suffrage. I may be wrong. I've been wrong. Well, I thought I was wrong once before, but I was mistaken.
It was passed by Congress on June the 4th, 1919, and ratified on August 18th, 1920. The 19th Amendment granted the women the right to vote. So, even so, 1919, that's still 30 years that Wyoming did it first. I mean, granted, there's only 9 people that were living in Wyoming at the time. But
and at least 6 of them said, women should be able to vote.
Yeah, there was no women other than the people who visited. But, we're just, okay, we'll let them vote if they lived here. Come on. It was like one of those things, come stay with us. We'll let you vote.
Yeah.
Okay.
Please.
Yeah.
Whoever it was that said that women were the weaker sex.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an idiot.
Yeah. They were butthurt. On the 6th of November, it's National Nachos Day.
Nachos.
Yeah, I like
mine.
Nachos. Nachos are mine. And on the 6th, in 1217, the Charter of the Forest was issued by King Henry III, returning rights to the common man including access, pasture, grazing, cutting turf, collecting firewood, and ending harsh penalties. In 1154, King Henry II, his dad, I'm supposing, placed restrictions and levies on woodland, fields, heathland, and other things. So
we saw evidence of that in the story of Robin Hood.
Yes.
Where if you killed a king's deer, it was penalty for death.
Yep.
So this was this day when it got overturned. Robin Hood won.
he did. He and Marion ran off and did fun things together.
Yeah, and Little John was not allowed to participate.
No, Little John's wife wouldn't let him go.
Yeah,
Says,
but
no.
Friar Tuck was the one brewing outside.
You goeth not with Robin Hood, she said. Yeah, Friar Tuck was getting everybody drunk.
I like Friar Tuck.
In 1879, the first official observance of Canadian Thanksgiving holiday. It's now observed on the second Monday in October.
So they've had Thanksgiving.
Yes.
They do it before Halloween? Well, that just seems wrong.
Yeah. In 1914, Morton Salt first used "When it rains, it pours," trademark slogan for its salt. I think I told you a year ago this week that I actually have an umbrella that is got the Morton Salt girl holding her umbrella that says "When it rains, it pours."
I wonder if her umbrella then also has a picture of a little girl with an umbrella on it. So it's like this, like a mirror, looking into a mirror.
Oh, what's that
So it's
called?
just constantly repeating.
Oh God, it's called something else. Hold on. Amagama does it.
That was a Pink Floyd album.
It was, yeah. It's called the Droste effect.
Okay.
Yeah,
That constant repetition.
yeah. So it's an effect of a picture recursively appearing within itself in a place where a similar picture would realistically be expected to appear. And it's called Droste effect because it's named for a Dutch brand of cocoa with an image designed by Jan Misset in 1904, showing a nun holding a cup of cocoa with the container. And the container has a picture of a nun holding a tray with a cup of cocoa with a container on it, and the container on that one contained, and so on, recursively happening. So the Droste effect. And it was just an excuse to talk about Amagama. So,
And my favorite one from that one, several species of small furry animals gathered together in a cave and grooving with a pig.
yes.
Yes, that's the title of a song.
It is. It is,
So song is kind of a loosely applied term.
it's more of a looping session.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, it is the shortest song on the entire album.
I had not noticed
at
that.
4 minutes and 59 seconds. The next one to it would be the one before it, which is Grantchester Meadows. And then there's a lot of 8-minute songs. And then one 9-minute song, then one is 12:17, one's 12:48, and one 13:28. So it's a lot of music. Or
A lot of jam sessions.
yeah. And really what was happening was each one had their own little section to write about. So,
Yeah, they quit doing stuff quite that way after Dark Side, when Alan Parsons got a hold of them and really showed them how to use the production studio.
yeah. And they were just using a lot of looping, which I did some in college. You take you record something, and then you set up however long you want it. There has to be like microphone stands and everything that you're putting at different distances, so it goes at a certain time, and you have to keep adding and splicing and adding and splicing. Now we just do it digitally and we don't have to worry about that. But back in
Right.
the day, it was actually pretty
hard.
fun. It was pretty fun to do it. But anyway, this is not a music podcast, although I love talking about music.
We digress.
In 1923, hyperinflation ran rampant in Europe to the fact that a loaf of bread in Germany, especially, cost 140 billion German marks. Yeah. So I looked that up to see what does that even mean. I know what hyperinflation is, but this is happening in Europe in the 20s. By November 1922, the value of gold of money in circulation had fallen from about 300 million pounds before World War I to 20 million pounds, which is a huge drop. The Reichsbank responded by the unlimited printing of notes, thereby accelerating the devastation or devaluation of the mark. In his report to London, Lord D'Aubignon wrote, "In the whole course of history, no dog has ever run after its own tail with the speed of the Reichsbank." Germany went through its worst inflation in 1923. In 1922, the highest denomination was 50,000 marks. So 1 year later, the highest denomination was 100 trillion marks. Wow. Yeah. Yes. In December 1920, in 1923, the exchange rate was 4,200,000,000,000 marks to $1 US. Wow. So
it's not like that now.
No. In 1923, the rate of inflation hit 3.25 by 10 to the 6th power, which was meaning that the price doubled every 2 days on something. So inflation was going stupid. Beginning on my birthday in 1923, it's the 20th, 1 trillion old marks were exchanged for 1 Renton mark, so that a 4.2 Renton mark were worth $1. Exactly the same rate the mark had been before all this crap started. So they had to reset everything.
Currently, it's $1 to 1.7608 to the Dutch mark.
So they're worth more than ours.
Almost 2 to 1.
Yeah. In 1975, Good Morning America premiered on TV. That's on the 6th. In 1993, the world's largest peanut butter and jelly sandwich to date was created in a place called Peanut, Pennsylvania. It was almost 40 feet long and used 150 pounds of peanut butter and 50 pounds of jelly. I believe the record was broken in 2002. I didn't look up how much it was, just that there was a new record.
But that's the ratio is wrong. That's 2 parts peanut butter to 1 part jelly. It should be 50-50.
No, I'm all with the 2 parts peanut butter. I can just leave the jelly off altogether. I'm okay with it. I like jelly, okay, but you don't have to push it. Just let the peanut butter speak for itself, man. Just let it happen.
Or get some of those little mini chocolate chips, not the big ones, but the little tiny ones, and put that on your
just
peanut
gotta
butter.
throw some chocolate in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's really good because chocolate and peanut butter are 2 great tastes that taste great together.
You got your peanut butter on my chocolate. You got your chocolate in my peanut butter. That was a great campaign.
It was a lot of fun.
So the 7th National Men Make Dinner Day, and this isn't about a guy making dinner, especially if you're a guy comfortable in the kitchen. This is actually meant for those less skilled folks to get in there and give it a try. Cooking doesn't have to be a horrible experience, and once you know a few basic kitchen skills, you may find it very enjoyable.
Yes. I like cooking.
Yeah, me too.
It's a very creative process.
It's also National Bittersweet Chocolate with Almonds Day. Why don't they just call it Hershey Bar Day?
Well, because, not all Hershey bars have almonds. But 40% of the world's almond harvest is used by chocolatiers.
As well they should. It's really the
And
only
that
way
just
I
tells
like
you that
almonds.
chocolate and almonds go together.
I'm not a big fan of almonds by themselves, but I do like them in a Hershey bar.
20% of the world's peanut crop goes to chocolatiers.
Nice. I love me some peanuts.
Yeah,
I'll be honest.
and chocolate.
You like chocolate, I'll take the peanuts. On the 7th, in 1805, the Lewis and Clark expedition sighted the Pacific Ocean for the first time.
I can see the coast. Yay!
That's one big ocean. Let's call it Pacific. I'm sure
Yeah,
it was
which
named
means
that
what?
before. Big, I think. In 1872, the Mary Celeste, I guess that's a ship, sailed for Genoa from New York with a cargo of 1,700 barrels of alcoholic spirits. The ship was found abandoned near the Azores. The captain, his wife and daughter, and 7 crewmen missing. There was no sign of violence. The captain, his family, and crew were never seen again. Which, as Jack Sparrow would say, why is all the rum gone?
By the way,
Yeah.
Pacific means peaceful in character or intent.
Okay. Like
So
pacifier.
there we go.
Like pacifist.
Very similar root, yes.
Yeah. Well, passive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yet, there's so much crap that goes on over in that ocean.
Yeah, it's not entirely peaceful.
No.
But it all does come back to the Latin root of pax, which means peace.
All right. In 1885, on the 7th, the 2,980-mile Canadian Pacific Railway was completed. It runs from Montreal, Quebec to Port Moody, British Columbia. That's a long trek.
That is a very long track.
In 1965, Poppin' Fresh was born. It's what the actual name of the Pillsbury Doughboy is. He made his debut in a
Really?
commercial for Crescent Rolls. Yeah, it's Poppin' Fresh is his name, not Pillsbury
I did not
Doughboy.
know.
Yeah.
That's what I know him by, is Pillsbury Doughboy.
Yeah.
But Poppin' Fresh is his actual name.
Yep. Poppin'
Poppin
apostrophe Fresh.
Ah, okay. Interesting.
Yep. In nothing says laughing like my Poppin' Fresh dough.
Wow.
Yeah.
Folks, that was not a recorded clip. That was Tim Beeman.
Yeah, I've done that a couple times. In
Once or twice.
1996, on the 7th, the Distilled Spirits Council of the United States voted to remove their voluntary ban of hard liquor ads on television and radio that had been in effect since 1936. I do remember that's about the time that we started seeing ads for liquor again, which I never understood. I mean, I can see why we still don't do cigarettes, but you'd have wine commercials and you'd have beer commercials. What was the difference?
Really? There shouldn't be
No.
any?
No.
Now, it is the North Carolina ABC board is not allowed to advertise. They have this in their own bylaws. They are not allowed to advertise the sale of distilled spirits. They are not allowed to encourage people to drink.
That's why there are no happy hours in North Carolina.
Exactly.
Because
If it's a happy hour, it has to be the entire day.
Yeah.
I remember when I lived in Florida, I mean, there were ABC stores, but you could have happy hours. So
Yeah.
it could be, 2-for-1 drinks from like 5 to 7.
Yep. Yep.
And it worked. People would come out. And they would be, generally, they'd have some sort of, appetizers out for you to munch on. And
Yeah. You're allowed to
was like-
have daily specials in North Carolina for mixed drinks and stuff.
Right.
But it has to be all day long. You can't. You
not
can't.
not a narrow window.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope that's one of the things they change whenever they change these new alcohol laws.
I do too.
In 2006, on the 7th, the Nevada Clean Indoor Air Act was approved by state voters. It banned smoking in all bars and restaurants. It became effective on December the 8th. It eventually became that way here, thank goodness.
Yeah. I remember going into restaurants and the guy sitting right next to you decided he wanted to light up and
Yeah.
there's nothing you could do about it
Yeah.
except leave.
Yeah.
And, a smoking section, I mean, smoke doesn't stay in its section.
No. No, they could just say, these tables over are the smoking section. This one right next to it over this way is the non-smoking section.
I remember working in radio back in the early part of my career, and you could wander through the entire radio station smoking. You weren't allowed in the control room where all the sensitive equipment was smoking. But even just to go into a staff meeting, 3/4 of the people around the table are smoking, and you almost had to become a smoker just in defense,
Yeah.
just as a way to be able to cope with being in that room.
Yeah. I'm so glad that, I mean, I'm all for people doing what they want to do, but I'm so glad that I can make the choice not to smoke, you know?
Yes. Yes.
On the 8th of November is National Harvey Wallbanger Day. Harvey Wallbanger, of course, is vodka, Galliano, and orange juice. So it's a screwdriver with Galliano in it. Yeah.
I've never had Galliano.
I don't know that I have either. I don't even know what it is. Let's see.
I was going to ask, you should know, because you're the man who ate down.
Yeah.
You are the expert on all things.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a sweet herbal liqueur, and it's in a, the listeners can't see this, but it's in this.
He's holding his hands apart, making a big thing.
Big, tall, slender glasses. It's made in Tuscany. It's made, the same company makes a brandy, but it's in Tuscany, and it's named after Giuseppe Galliano, an Italian officer of the Royal Italian Army of the First Italo-Ethiopian War. So, let's see.
And it's an herbal liqueur?
The flavor, is sweet with vanilla, anise flavor, and subtle citrus and woodsy herbal undertones. The vanilla top note differentiates Galliano from other anise-flavored liqueurs such as Sambuca, Pernod, or Anisette. It is used as a digestivo, meant for drinking after heavy meals, and as an ingredient for cocktails, most notably the Harvey Wallbanger, the Yellow Bird, the Golden Cadillac, and the Golden Dream, because it is very golden in color.
I could see that working well in a screwdriver and being pretty tasty.
Yeah. And there you have the Harvey Wallbanger.
Nice.
I
learned something.
It's also National Cappuccino Day, which cappuccino is a double espresso with foamed milk.
I like those.
I do too. And the funny thing is, whenever I can have those. I can't have a whole lot of caffeine, but stuff like that I can have.
Interesting.
In 1721, the Honorable Gordon Saltonstall, Esquire, governor of His Majesty's colony of Connecticut in New England, proclaimed November the 8th, 1721, as a day for a public Thanksgiving. So it was happening, it happened back in the 1500s too, but this was the first proclaimed day by a governor of His Majesty's colony of Connecticut in New England. So, and
now it's at the end of the month.
That's right. And 78 years later, Elijah Craig distilled the first bourbon whiskey from corn in Bourbon County, Kentucky, and we have thanked him a lot since then.
Oh yes.
In 1904, Michael J. Owens of Toledo, Ohio, patents an automatic glass bottle manufacturing machine capable of producing 4 bottles per second. A patent assigned to Toledo Glass Company, and I believe it is now known as the Owens, Illinois Glass Company.
Interesting. 4 bottles a second. That's pretty quick.
Yeah. There is an Owens, Illinois plant in Midway here.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. A friend of mine's mom used to work there. I don't know if it's still there, but it was there in the 90s.
And that's not Owens Corning.
No.
This is different.
Yep. This is glass. That Owens Corning, I think, was like plates and stuff.
Yeah. Ceramic stuff.
Yeah. In 1910, on the 8th, a patent was issued to William H. Frost of Spokane, Washington, for the first electric insect zapper. And here we thought it was a relatively new thing. Yeah. I remember in my neighborhood when I was growing up in West Virginia, like every other house had one of those big light fixture things hanging out in the yard.
A couple feet tall.
Yeah. And then you go up by and spit on it, and it would. Yeah, it was just so much fun. I actually
I'm glad
had,
to know I wasn't the only one spitting on it.
yeah, I did. And I had one not too long ago that looked like a tennis racket.
Yes.
But you had to push the button, so you just go around swatting at them. What was always funny is when I would go outside and there would be like a spider had built its web there. I didn't zap it, but I would go dunk, and hit it, and it would, you just watch it. I know it's sitting there thinking, what the hell just happened?
What? Why am I flying?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
and
but zapping it would have been good too.
yeah, but I don't know. I feel weird about that. I just liked it. Was just fun, just watching
Yeah.
it fly through.
But there is one good kind of spider.
A dead one.
Yes.
Yeah. In 1966, on the 8th, I don't usually talk about birthdays, but I think this one's important. Gordon Ramsay was born in Scotland.
Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah.
If you remove the F word from his vocabulary, I wonder if he could speak.
Yes, because I don't watch like Hell's Kitchen and stuff. I watch his home things that he does with his kids. And he's
He's a different man.
He's a sweet man, actually. And the thing is even when he's throwing curse words at you, he's trying to help you. He just has a weird way of doing it, but he's trying to help.
Actually, we finished binging on a series that he did where he was going around the world into these really remote locations and trying the food that they make there.
Yeah.
One, he went down to South America and was back in, way up in the Peruvian mountains and climbing up to get these plants that only grow in a particular place, and then bringing that back and cooking all. Yeah, those to me were fascinating. He was really very interesting to listen to and to hear him talk. But the stuff that you see like on Hell's Kitchen, man, it's just like constant profanity.
Yeah. And that's what people tune in for. They tune in to see that. I'm looking here. Is it Gordon's Great Escape?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was really interesting. And of course, the countryside was just absolutely staggeringly beautiful.
That's what I liked so much about Anthony Bourdain. Especially the older shows. The stuff before he died was more travel show or actually documentary style.
Yeah.
But not No Reservations, but the parts that was Parts Unknown. The No Reservations part was more about cooking and travel, and
Yeah.
I loved that. He still touched on a lot of the cooking because that's what he's known for. But I preferred No Reservations over Parts Unknown. On the 8th in 1976, in Oakville, Ontario, a U.S.-Canadian syndicate pays $235,000 for Hanover Hill Barb, which is a cow, which is the highest price ever paid for a cow to that date.
Why would you pay that much for a cow?
Well, that's not unusual now. I mean, McDonald's will spend sometimes $150,000 per cow. Yeah, I had our friend
$150,000 for a cow.
Yeah, our friend Tim Johnson, his wife, one of her childhood friends, used to. She was actually getting ready to have her college tuition paid from the sale of a cow, and the cow died. Died right before the sale, so they lost out on that, and that was enough to put her and her brother, I think, through college.
I'm guessing at this point it's not the meat the meat cannot. There's no way you could sell the meat for that. It has to be for breeding.
It has to. Yeah. Well, yes, it can still be for the meat, but yeah, because like she would tell me, Amy, would say that, you know, Wendy's all the time would come in and buy a cow for $100,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm in the wrong business. Maybe I should be buying and selling cows.
I think that it's you would have had to have been born into it
Yeah, probably
and
so.
and spent a lot of time because it's you know, a cartel kind of thing. So
I mean, right now, I would be taken pretty quick, I'm sure.
yeah. On the 9th of November, it's National Scrapple Day.
Scrapple.
Scrapple.
Yes, that's something we eat all the time.
Do you?
No, I have no idea.
A Pennsylvania Dutch specialty of chopped or ground pork and cornmeal mush, cooked and shaped in a loaf pan. It's then cooled, then sliced and browned in butter to serve. I've seen people make it, and I mean, there's nothing of that sounds bad to me. It's
No.
just the name Scrapple just sounds bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, here's all the crap that we couldn't figure out what else to do with it. Throw it all together and make scrapple.
Yeah.
It's probably got offal in it. This is where you get the "ul" of scrapple.
Yeah. Well, was it steakums and stuff like that? I think that was kind of an offshoot of Scrapple.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure. Don't quote me. I'm just thinking that's what it was. On the 9th in 1872, fire nearly destroyed Boston's business district. Firefighters from dozens of surrounding towns helped to fight the blaze, but water pressure was too low to halt the spreading inferno. So what do? Officials resorted to blowing up buildings to keep the fire from spreading to residential areas. Almost 1,000 businesses were destroyed on that day.
Wow. That's a big deal.
On the 9th in 1891, George A. Hormel opened his packing house in Austin, Minnesota.
And gave birth to Spam.
Yes, eventually he did. In 1911, on the 9th, Georges Claude of Paris, France, applied for a patent for an electric neon sign. It was issued on January 19th in 1915. So it took three and some odd months to get it. 3 years and some odd months to get it. So
That's a long time to have to wait for the patent to come through.
Yeah, this was
So neon
France.
signs have only been around a little over 100 years.
Yeah. That was in France, so I don't know what their patent office looks like. So, in 1961, on the 9th, during lunchtime, Brian Epstein heard the Beatles for the first time at the Cavern in Liverpool. He went on to manage them and got them the record deal, and
He loved them, yeah.
yeah, he did. In 1983, on the 9th, Alfred Heineken, president of Heineken, yes, the beer, was kidnapped. He was freed on November 30th after a ransom was paid over $20 million. The
You want
kidnappers,
your Heine back? Pay up.
they stole my Heine. The kidnappers were eventually caught, so they got
Yeah, what
away
good
with
did that
little.
do?
Yeah, none. It usually never does.
No.
On the 10th of November, it's National Vanilla Cupcake Day.
I know you like vanilla. Ice cream in particular.
Well,
But
'cause I can do
cupcakes are
so
better
much
with
too.
chocolate.
No, I don't necessarily agree with that. In 1847, on the 10th, Carlsberg Brewery in Denmark began production of its first brew, and I love Carlsberg beer, even though it is the Budweiser of Denmark. I still like it.
Is it really an equivalent of Budweiser?
No, it's just like Peroni's not the equivalent of Budweiser, but it is like the Budweiser of Italy. I mean, it's just a mass-produced beer.
Yeah.
But I just like that. Here's the thing: I hate Heineken beer here, but when I was in Amsterdam, it tasted really, really good because that's where it's made.
Right.
And there's a secret about that I may have told you before. Over there, the Heineken has a green star. Over here, the Heineken has a red star. Green star means fresh water. Red star means canal water.
Oh, Red Star means stay away.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not awful, but I just don't like the taste of it. I like Heineken better than Amstel Light. Amstel Light is one of the worst things I've ever tasted.
Yeah, I'm not interested. Thank you.
In 1891, on the 10th, the first convention of the World Women's Christian Temperance Union began in Boston. The organization's primary goal was to promote total abstinence from alcohol. Bitches.
You said that. Of course, they were trying to stop one of your favorite things.
That's right. Keep your nose out of my alcohol.
Yeah.
In 1951, on the 10th, coast-to-coast direct dialing began, which means you don't need an operator to connect a call any longer. So you don't have to climb up on the pole like in Green Acres and start yelling, I need to call this person. Or Andy, whoever who was the...
I mean, it would change.
Yeah.
Because, the same person isn't always.
Velma, connect me over to Andy.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You didn't have to do that anymore. On the 10th in 1969, yes, 50 years this year, the children's television show Sesame Street debuted with the Cookie Monster, Big Bird, Oscar the Grouch, and many more characters. Saturday actually was Cookie Monster's birthday.
C is for cookie. That's good enough for me. I love Cookie Monster.
I was wanting to listen to music that was different, and I've always joked around that death metal sounds like Cookie Monster music to me. But I was listening to Amon Amarth, which is Viking death metal, the other day, and it really did. And remarkably, you can understand every single word he says. But it's like it was C is for cookie, that's good enough for me. That's exactly what it sounded like. I'm like, God, that really does sound like Cookie Monster.
I loved Sesame Street.
I still do.
I don't watch it now.
I don't either. No, because they went to HBO. They're not even PBS anymore.
But it was so well done and so ahead of its time, very progressive in its thought about how people should treat each other and really modeling that for people. Yeah.
The character Rolf, the dog that played piano in the Muppets.
Yeah.
That was Jim Henson's favorite character.
Really?
It was. And when Jim Henson died, Rolf never spoke again. Because it was Jim Henson did his voice. Jim Henson did Kermit, he did Ernie, he did Big Bird, he did a lot of those for the voices anyway. And Oscar. But he did Rolf, and once Rolf was once he passed, Rolf never spoke again.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah. Stephanie told me that on Saturday. So, anyway, that's all your food, holidays, and history for this week. Special thanks to James Ehler at foodreference.com for making us chuckle, roll our eyes, and talk about Cookie Monster.
And chocolate.
Elmo likes beer.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
You should hear the outtakes afterwards when Elmo talks about all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. Elmo needs a dime bag.
Elmo does Dallas next on the Man Who Ate the Town.
Well, speaking of the Man Who Ate the Town, this podcast is part of the Less Desirables Podcast Network. Along with this podcast, you can listen to The Less Desirables, The Beer Dads, Fan Interference, Apartment 5B, Beeswax
might be good too.
Vinyl and more. And maybe Sipping NC, The Art of Drinking might make a comeback. You never know. You can find all these podcasts and their latest episodes on our network website and directory, tldpodnetwork.com. You can also find social media links in each and bios for each one there on that website. Again, it's tldpodnetwork.com. We greatly appreciate if you visit our sponsors like the Humblebee Shop, located 1003 Brookstown Avenue in the west end of downtown. You should go right now to Instagram and look up the Humblebee Shop. Brittany is whipping up the batter on some delicious desserts, cakes, and muffins, be it regular, vegan, or gluten-free. The Humblebee Shop wants to challenge your perception of Scratch Made and leave you with an experience you couldn't possibly forget. For more information, follow them on social media like Facebook and Instagram, or visit thehumblebeeshop.co.
SHOPPE.co.
Washington Perk Provision Company is located at 301 West 4th Street. You will find a little bit of everything at the Perk. Local fruits, veggies, meats, and dairy from local sources. Bingo Bango sodas made right here in Winston-Salem. They are very good, very natural. Wolfie's Custard and more. Washington Perk is better than a convenience store, not quite a grocery store. On Facebook, they are Washington Perk, or on Instagram, Washington Perk _DTWS. Carrabba's Italian Grill, located at 587 South Stratford Road. Let Daniel demonstrate what a responsible, large-scale family of restaurant looks like. Carrabba's takes the community it serves very seriously. And, you know, when you have an awesome owner like Daniel at the helm, that certainly doesn't suck for your company.
Yeah, no kidding.
And he does so many things for this community, and we appreciate him. Every time I see him, I always say, "You're a good man, Daniel Butner."
And he doesn't play Nine Inch Nails in the restaurant.
He would
During
if he
hours.
could. He would if he could. It's so funny that, you know, just knowing him without knowing him, you would never peg him for a Nine Inch Nails kind of guy.
No.
But then he gets talking about it, and like the passion comes through. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
If you want to have some fun, go into Carrabba's, and when Daniel comes by to ask how your day's been or how your week's been, say, "Hey, tell me about some Nine Inch Nails," and just watch him light up. It'll be fun.
He will enjoy that.
He will. Follow Carrabba's. Follow
Carrabba's.
Carrabba's on social media and on Carrabba's.com.
That's the new spinoff that's coming soon. Carrabba's.
Carrabba's for the little things.
Yeah.
I did want to say, I forgot to mention this in the news section, but there were pictures posted this week that the West End Pokey place that was Alex's Cafe, they've started some renovations.
Nice.
And I went by Big Lots today, and Poke Star looked like it was at least getting ready to open. They have one of those butterfly or whatever, those big tall flag-like things standing on the side of the road that said Poke Star. But I'm not saying where to go. I mean, it might be open now, but when West End Poke play, I don't know what it's called, West End Poke place.
Pokemon.
Pokemon happens, then you need to get by there, because I'm sure Dave doesn't do bad food. By and check out what he's doing. So sorry I didn't mention that earlier, Dave. Keep an eye on my blog and this podcast. I'm going to stop again. I did post those pictures of the burgers last week, and Dave Hillman actually commented on the Facebook post and says, "Tim, dude, we got to get you eating healthier stuff. You did the summer. Now we got to get you eating better stuff." And, you know, he's right. And my wife loved it that he said that. And he's right. I do need to. And it just warms my heart to know that people care enough to make those kind of statements to me. And
You know where you need to go again.
yeah, oh yeah.
Yamas.
As he even mentioned Yamas. He said Yamas or Village Juice or the West End Poke establishment when it shows up. So I plan
Hurry
on...
up, Dave. Get it open so Tim can eat something healthy.
Yes, I will too. So keep an eye on my blog and on this podcast, or an ear on this podcast, to find out more about food news and happenings around town. If you have any food news, if your cousin's opening a restaurant, if your cousin heard about a restaurant opening, if you are involved with a restaurant, if you don't like what I say about your restaurant, then let me know. Send me an email, tim@themanwhoatethetown.com, or on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter Instant Messengers. Like us on Facebook. On Twitter, we are manwho8thetown. On Instagram, we are manwhoatethetown. My name is Tim.
My name's Ray.
And we are closing the recipe box. Until next time, thank you for reading. Thank you for listening. Bon appetit. Yamas, Ray cut out. I'm saying yamas by myself. Yamas, yamas, yamas. The views and opinions stated by me or any of my guests are solely those of ours and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of our hosting companies, distributors, enemies, friends, or relatives. This podcast is copyrighted and cannot be reproduced or distributed without express written consent of the man who ate the town, that's me, and Such Limited Inc. However, if you ask nicely, we'll probably let you.